Good evening, everyone. My name is Danny B. Last week, we said this week our guest would be Mr. Elijah Burke, but unfortunately, due to current circumstances, which we will talk about more on the show, he's unable to be here. But the show must go on. We've got a lot to talk about. Welcome to the NASCAR Weekly Podcast.
Green flag, green flag. I'll roll him, I'll roll him. He's flipping me up! Ah! Hell yeah, boys! How about that? They touched! Watch it in the wall! He threw it off the track! Baby, that's how you do it. Get that second flag, son. Yeah, baby, yeah! Hell yeah!
And we're live, guys. Now, who wants to start?
I'll get started here. First off, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Darren Gilliam, aka Black Lives Matter. Welcome to another edition of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast here on DannyBTalks this time. So a lot of stuff has happened, and we obviously know what happened with the whole Kyle Larson deal. On Sunday, was caught using a racial slur during Landon Castle's iRacing event. And first off, the event was really, it had the potential to really succeed, and it did at first. I mean, Landon ran it pretty well. Alan Bestwick was commentating, and I forgot who won, but he seemed to be pretty excited about it. But then, Larson, the whole Larson deal just overshadowed this. And what he said was absolutely unacceptable. It was obviously, very racist. I'm just going to call it for what it was. Just just hearing that word, just it being said to in the day and age, in today's social climate, it's just unacceptable. And, it's just, I had just a wide range of emotions when I first heard it. And, the reaction on social media too afterwards, it's pretty obvious that, there's two different subsections of this. You have people who obviously, who to me are showing common sense. They understand like why the utterance of that word is absolutely wrong in that context, or they also understand that it doesn't matter what context it's brought up in. You just don't say it. It's just not it's not a clean word to say. It's not a right word to say. You just shouldn't be said at all. Then others are, trying to defend it. I don't understand that either. I thought we came a whole lot more further than that, as a community. But I mean, I could still say that in some parts of it, we still have a long, long way to go. And, just even having talks, privately with some of the community members, including the two podcast group panel here. I mean, they understand it, they get it. And, there's certain things that we always disagree on just because we're humans. But I mean, we're always good friends. But this is something that was strictly unanimous. It's like, whoa, it's like common sense. Don't say that. You know what I mean? And I guess the last thing I have to say is I just feel bad, really, for everyone involved. And what I mean by that is, like, Larson this affected everyone. It was just stupid. It was so stupid and just blatantly it's just shocking how dumb you have to be in this instance. You say it live on stream, and then not only does it affect you, it affects your family, affects your legacy as well. It affected you. Job-wise, professionally-wise, affected you publicly. Just a public pariah right now at this point. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll let you guys talk because I'm just going overboard at this point. I think everyone who's watching now pretty much gets it. But in terms of sympathy at the moment, I do agree with what Stephen A. Smith had to say on the subject. Everyone does deserve a second chance. I am a firm believer of that, just speaking off my personal beliefs as well, and just off of my personal experiences. Giving second chances, it's the greatest feeling too, just knowing somebody still believes in you, or a group of people still believe in you, whether it be your friends and family, to give you a second chance no matter what it'll be in. And eventually, yes, even though Kyle Larson, what he said was uncalled for, it was inappropriate, he will eventually get his due, and he will eventually get a second chance, because that is a part of life. I don't necessarily like cancel culture when in that sense, when it comes to that. Now, in terms of him losing his job and him getting all the consequences that come with it, I don't feel sorry for him in that instance. And that's why I was getting the second chance, stuff out there on Twitter, just talking about that, because at that point, you can't go any lower. You got exactly what was coming for you. You got exactly what you deserved for uttering that word. Is you lost your job. You're not going to be back in NASCAR for quite some time at this point. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I will always forgive, but you never forget. So I'll just put it like that.
I agree with you, Darren. We've seen previously on YouTube the situation with YouTuber PewDiePie, how that affected his channel. He almost didn't recover from it, but in time he did. And I'm with you. I want to see him get a second chance one day, but that day won't be coming anytime soon. It's one of those things that there's always going to be that consequence, and it would happen to no matter who said it, and no matter what the situation is, it would happen either way. If one of us said on this show, we would lose everything. I guarantee you that. And we're not going to. No one else should. But I guess someone said something to me on Twitter this week about this. They said, the joke was Danny B feels like a dad. Well, in this case, yeah, I kind of do, because it's like you're disappointed. It's someone that you really liked, and then that happened, and you're just so conflicted. It's like I don't hate the guy. That's not the way he should be, because that word he said is associated so much of hate, and I've always believed that you shouldn't reward hate with more hate, because that only just makes things worse.
You shouldn't reward it with more hate. I get that, but at the same time, you still have to have consequences for your actions, no matter what.
There should be consequences, but I don't hate the guy, nor do I think anyone else should.
Well, no, I don't hate him either, and I don't think anyone else should either as well. I could totally understand, like, I guess some people in the moment, hating on him. Like, obviously, I totally get that. Just, in the grand scheme of things, though, again, like I said, I'm a firm believer in second chances, and in this instance, he's lost everything. He lost everything he's worked for, and it is just so sad. It is so unfortunate, because just a week ago he was viewed as the hottest prospect. People didn't know if he was going to be with Ganassi next year. And talking in terms of his future, he could go to Hendrick, he can go to Gibbs. Imagine him, and it also sucks too, because I've made content on my channel talking about this man, talking about his talent, and saying, man, guys, like, he's the real deal. Like, guys, stop hating on him. Like, he wants to. I was basically defending him. I defended him on a weekly basis when it came to his dirt ambitions too. I
think we all have at one point. It's just. It's crazy to think of what this year has become, and if you took me back to January and you told me, hey, you're gonna be talking on your weekly live show about virtual racing and a driver losing everything in one night, I would have said you're crazy.
And it's just, this year's been crazy as a whole. And the one final point I want to make before I let Jarrett have the floor here is, what makes this even worse too, in my opinion, is, Larson, he's a graduate of the diversity program, the program that has been a mainstay in NASCAR for a while. NASCAR's been trying, they've been pushing for this for years. He graduated in arguably, and without a doubt, the greatest NASCAR next class of all time. Bubba Wallace was in there. And who else was in there too? Corey LaJoie, Danny, who was it? Dylan Kwasniewski, just a whole Daniel Suarez, other minority drivers too.
A lot of people were in that. I've been doing a lot of research in the early days of NASCAR Next. 2011, Larson wasn't in it; he was in 2012. But it's crazy to think. This is one of the guys that NASCAR was willing to put their name behind and say, he's the future of our sport, much like they've done with people such as Haley Deegan, Rajah Carew, people like, them. And now, I don't know, it's...
And he blows it.
It's a mess.
Well, it's just, the thing is, too, is it's one of the biggest wastes in talent we've seen in such a long time. I think we were talking with a few of the guys earlier in the week, and it's like one of the biggest, potentially, if he can't get back, it's one of the biggest wastes of talent since someone like Rob Moroso. It's just insane how, because, we can always have that argument back and forth. I know the big argument for a while was between Kyle Larson and Chase Elliott. And that was the big argument. Which one is better? And you could make a very good argument for both of them. And they're both top level young drivers. Just for him to say that, and it wasn't even that he said it as much as I agree with a lot of people as how he said it. Like the fact that it just seemed like it was so easy for him to say it behind the scenes. Yeah, maybe it was a running joke, but that doesn't excuse it at all. That was the part that was so shocking about it. You guys were more disappointed and looking for forgiveness. And I've on both of those too, but I have to say in the moment, especially that night, I was pretty mad, honestly, because I knew that it affects literally every person in the sport right now. Like this doesn't just affect Kyle Larson. This isn't something like, back when Kurt Busch was having his problems and it only affected Kurt and maybe the team. Like this affects the 42 team. This affects all of Chip Ganassi Racing and how sponsors, not only in NASCAR, but around the world, view that team, as someone who would employ them, as unfair as that is. I hate that, the guilt by association train, but that seems to be something that is very popular to do right now. It affects everyone in NASCAR. It sets the sport and how it's viewed. Both, I would say, inside the sport is more disappointing because you think we move past how a lot of fans were. Like, I mean, no pun with this, that it was a very checkered response of either in support or completely against anything happening to Larson. And it was honestly really shocking. I had a tweet that was like the second or third highest one that night on the Kyle Larson trend. And I was disgusted by some of the responses I got to that tweet and some of the
same here,
the stuff back and forth. I mean, it was absolutely insane. Some of the phrases that people were saying, some of the ways that they were talking about different drivers, like Bubba Wallace, like Kyle Larson, like Daniel Suarez. And it honestly was really sad for me because I thought that overall we got past that. Now, I do want to say that don't take what this really loud, racist, vocal minority has been saying on Twitter as to be all NASCAR fans.
And that's another problem.
I've said it time and time again. Twitter isn't real life. All right, Twitter is just sensationalism for whatever side anyone wants to be on. They can be loud and not have any consequences for the most part. But I had to. I was mad too because I look and I feel bad for a lot of people I'm friends with in the sport who are fans that are minorities. I feel bad for Darian. I feel bad for Roger. I feel bad for all these guys. And I saw how mad a lot of people were, and I don't blame you. Yeah. I don't blame any of them. On top of that, though, I also, maybe selfishly kind of thought, just growing up being the only NASCAR fan, like, of any of the kids at the school I went to, is like literally this is exactly the stereotype they would give you. And for so long, I'd pride myself on seeing like how far NASCAR has come, and now this just backs up every ignorant thought that an outsider has about the sport and its fans. And I saw Pat McAfee talking about this, and he was hot. He was mad. And as he and everyone else rightfully should be. And one thing he said is, he's a very sarcastic person. I really do like Pat McAfee a lot. But he's a very sarcastic person, and he made a point. And I really appreciate this because a lot of people haven't made this point, but he made a point to say that this does not represent all of NASCAR fans. This is just, one nasty moment from somebody who shouldn't have been saying that word. If you saw my video today, I think that word belongs in history, in the history books. Leave it back there. It's just dirty. There's nothing really good from it. And I myself would never say it, but this whole thing, just overall, it's disappointing. Like I said, it's disappointing, it's angering, and it's just sad because I hate using the "it's 2020" argument, but I feel like we've moved over so much time and had so much work to get through all this, and not have to really almost not have to really think about it. Now it's been brought back up. We've been pushed into the mainstream. Everyone from Business Insider to Forbes, NBC Nightly News, Fox News, any of them, left, right, in the middle, up, down, I don't care where they are, they're all talking about it. And, as sad as it's say, rightfully so, and I'm glad that it's gotten called out. I hate the cancel culture. I hate what a lot of people are bringing in that have very little to no knowledge on the sport. It's frustrating. It's probably going to be like this for a little while. The fallout's just now starting. Like the fallout isn't ending with Kyle Larson losing his ride. It isn't ending with sponsors threatening to leave Chip Ganassi Racing if he doesn't leave. We're going to see the fallout, and we'll talk about it, later in the show. We're going to see the fallout in iRacing and how they go about this stuff. We're going to see the fallout in how drivers, what freedoms they're allowed to have outside of their normal stuff by their PR team. Mm-hmm. We're going to see the fallout long-term that a lot of people aren't going to give NASCAR a chance and are just going to look at it as a dumb white trash redneck sport, even though it's not. The effects of this are already being seen on some other races that people are putting on for iRacing with drivers, and unfortunately we're going to see the effects of this ripple through the sport probably throughout the decade. Like that, as sad as that is to say.
I mean,
this
Larson
one moment
just that
changed the trajectory.
Just that one moment, the one utterance of that disgusting word just set the sport back like 30 years, just like that, from a public perception. Like, mm-hmm. I mean, NASCAR's been working so hard to try and break that stereotype and just knowing the people inside the sport. I mean, it's obviously broken, but I guess from a national perspective, they still don't see that. And Larson just undid all the work, for a brief moment at least. Larson basically undid all the hard work that was being done by others in the industry to negate that stereotype, including us to a certain extent, including me. I have to basically explain to all my friends on campus. Or I mean, if this whole quarantine thing wasn't happening, I would be in class right now, basically explaining to my friends, or on campus, and then other people who know what I do, like, oh, NASCAR's not like that. And I say that all the time, but in this instance, it's like, dude, look what one of your drivers, one of your minority drivers just said. And that's another thing too. We can also talk about the people, talking about the sport, from the outside who had no idea what they're talking about either, which I can't stand. And I talked about that in my last upload.
I think there was a member of the Mets and then Reggie Bush, and it was just, having an angry response isn't bad. I think having a response to the point where you're literally challenging somebody to a fight, or you're just, ripping on everything about them before, it doesn't help anything. I personally, I liked, like what you were saying, Stephen A. Smith's response, and First Take's response. Just, it was crisp, clean, professional, but at the same time called it out for what it was. Chip Ganassi Racing handled it about as well as they possibly could. I don't think they could have handled it any better.
Like it wasn't even 12 hours after the incident took place, and they were already like, no, he's suspended without pay for the time being. And then the very next day, he's gone.
Had it not been for the fact that it happened like late at night when it happened, it probably would have been more of that stuff would have happened like that day.
Yeah, it would have happened that day, but since it happened so late, then yeah. I mean, I remember just getting DMs about it. Some people, like a few people were telling me, and then you guys put it in the chat, and I was like, what? And then I was like, and I tweeted, I was like, wait, he didn't say that, did he? And then put the video up, which now has, I think, about 2 million views now on Twitter. So everyone's seeing it.
Yeah, I put, I was sitting there watching Endgame with my family, and, because my dad hadn't seen it. And right as Tony Stark snaps his finger, I looked down at my phone. I'm like, are you serious? Like,
wow.
Really?
It takes your breath. I mean, just finding that out just took my breath away, because Larson was the final guy I would expect. Like,
I thought it was a joke.
Like,
I thought it was a bad joke.
You don't expect anyone to be racist. It's not like I'm going to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm going to expect Danny and Jarrett to turn on me one. Like, that's right. Like, no, you don't just do that. So like, when Larson, one of the minority drivers, says this just on stream, just freely, And then when you watch how it actually went down, let me analyze that video for you guys, how that actually went down. First off, the reason he uttered that word was for a friggin' mic check. Just
What
speaking
an
from a
idiot.
just
What a dumbass.
just speaking from a content creator's perspective, I do mic checks literally like every day or every time I'm making a video or before streams. We all do. I highly doubt that is the word that any of us have ever thought of. I've never thought of saying that for a fucking
We usually say something like "be aware of your surroundings" or an inside
or
joke
like
that's,
testing
appropriate.
1 2, not the freaking N word.
You could say, ending. You could say, fishing, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, not the N word. And then
You could
and
literally
then,
yell Leroy Jenkins,
But
and
here-
it's a better mic check.
But then the second part about this too, he said it just so freely in in a lobby with other drivers too. That's not a good
he said
look
it the
either.
same way that I was like, "Hey, Darian."
Yeah, he just said it casually, like it didn't even matter. And then, and in a group with other people, I can just tell you from experience. I mean, just that is not a word you want to say publicly. Number one, because it's wrong, and number two, you're either gonna get made fun of for it, or you're just gonna get beat up for it, man. Just straight up. And he just says it just nonchalantly in this lobby with other drivers. And then, poor Anthony Alfredo too. Just talking with him, like Anthony. He was shocked. He didn't know what to say, and then Anthony is the one who broke the news to him. So I'm upset that he's involved in this way, and then I'm upset for guys like Connor Daly who went through the whole incident. What was it? It was last year, correct? Or was it 2 years ago?
I believe it was either last year or 2 years ago. That was the one where his father said something like 30 years ago.
Yeah,
And
so like,
mob went after him.
Yeah, even though Connor Daly did nothing wrong in this instance. So and Connor's good friends with Pat McAfee too. So like he was talking about him on the show today too when I was hearing him, and that's just. That is so awful. It's like one of the worst things you can say, but also to say it, when you thought nobody heard you, that's even doubly worse. That makes the situation 2 times worse than it was.
Because with that being there, it's like he had just said it straight up, then it'd be like, okay, that's horrible that he has that much of no awareness socially, no social awareness. But the fact that he knew, okay, I need to hide this. Okay, the mic's off, right? Like that right there is like that. I think that is even worse because he knows it's wrong.
There's no going back from that.
Wrong. Like, and I hate the argument. Oh, context. It's like, no.
What context is not ever say that?
And I saw that at first when this whole deal was going on. I've seen that the past 2 days. Can you give us context? And literally, it's here's the context. It's basic common sense. You don't say the word at all in any sort of context. You just don't. You never do.
And let's put this one to bed. I don't care if a rapper has said it. That don't matter.
Okay, there's 2. All right, and that's another thing too. It's just there's just different variables. It's just different. Different.
And depending on how you like view that, it's like even depending on how you view that, even if you use that reasoning, like I know growing up, it's one of those 2 wrongs make a right. Just do 2 wrongs make a right. If you have that same view, kind of like I have, like no, like just saying, oh, someone else said doesn't mean that makes it right. Like I think it's personally, and again, I know a lot of people give me pushback on this. I personally see it wrong in any context, but so does that mean that oh, well, Kyle Larson said it, but somebody else did that makes Kyle Larson right? No. It's you can argue all day and night. We're not gonna, but you can argue all day and night about, double standards and all that BS. I don't, really think it's that much of an argument to talk about. It's overall just something that it's a stain, honestly, to just in general have it. Like you don't need it in a conversation. What's it going to add to the conversation at all? What's it going to add to a racing conversation? What's it going to add to anything on social media? It's kind of crazy to me when I looked at, I left I was not going to put it on screen for the show tonight anyway, before my computer end of it sort of just died on me. But I put a comment on my comment page on my channel, just like, what do you think of it? And I was surprised just how many people were, oh yeah, I use it every day. It's like, okay, like, no, Why?
Look,
Why? Why?
and
would
like
you?
I'll be honest, and yes, I'll be honest too, and I'm not speaking for all black people here. Like, and should I mean, like, there's obviously, just different culture, just different cultures, different things that between certain people that certain people do with each other, and just talking about that word, I guess, if we want to get into that and just give, I guess, context in a sense. There's a different abbreviation of that word that we always use as a title of endearment. Like, hey, how's it going, bud? You know what I'm saying? Like that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Like amongst one another. And then hell, even in some places too. Like, from North Las Vegas, like everyone just says it, freely. The abbreviated version, of course, like it's nothing. It's just another curse word to people. And I'm quite sure some people in the chat have used that as well, regardless of race or whatever. But the thing is, though, in this instance, you don't say this one, at least I can speak from a social perspective. Right now, just socially, at least where I'm from, I can speak from this. That the version Larson used, that is not socially acceptable in any sort of context. The other abbreviation, yes, right now in social context right now, yes, that is. Do I think it's wrong? Like Jarrett just made a valid point, and I agree with some aspects, but some of that though, I do have to agree to disagree on some of those things. So. But other than that, that's about it. Don't use it in that context ever again. Larson basically got everything that was coming towards to him, and it's going to be a long road back, but you had it coming, man. So it's just don't use that word. Simple.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. We spent the first 30 minutes talking about this. Let's try to change it a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, now we gotta see about like the fallout. that's the next. Kind of
dude, the fallout.
The 42 is open now. That's basically it. He's indefinitely suspended from NASCAR. 30 days, I believe, he has to get reinstated into the World of Outlaws. All of his sponsors in the Cup Series, at least, have distance himself, which I think opens up the question is who is who's the next one, who's jumping up. I think honestly, and you guys can add anybody else's conversation if you want, but I honestly think it comes down to two people, and I think it's Ross Chastain and Jamie McMurray.
Go ahead. Sorry,
I think Jamie is a perfect temporary solution, especially if Ross is in a situation where he does have more ties currently to his Xfinity program and his commitment to Roush for the time being. But I'm getting a lot of feedback from somebody, not sure.
That's Jared. It's okay. No, it's fine.
All right. Anyways, I think Ross is a good long-term solution. But if we're talking a short-term for 2020, I would put McMurray in that car temporarily.
Yeah, long term. I don't know. Right now, I don't know how the whole Roush deal is set up. I would assume by the time this whole pandemic is done, Ryan Newman will be fully 100% healthy, and Ross Chastain who is still under contract with Chip Ganassi, by the way, is going to be in this ride. I think. Go ahead.
But you run into the issue of him. Does he want to do that thing where he switches his points? I
don't know. You'll have to see. A lot can change. It's funny that Chastain's in this. He's in the situation again because last year he was in the same situation where, I'll go switch the Truck Series points, and I was like, wait, you can do that? And I didn't know you could do that. I guess, and I guess it was done in the past as well.
It's funny how last year a huge controversy set him back from his opportunity at a good Xfinity program, but then they end up getting a good Truck Series program. And now this year he is in a pretty decent Xfinity Series program. Huge controversy, potentially gets him a full-time Cup opportunity.
No, yeah, Ross is like he always finds himself in these situations, man. Like he just happens to be with the same team whenever something goes down, whether it's the DC Solar mess, wanting to switch up his points, or, the Larson BS we just talked about. He's just there. He happens to be the guy who happens to be the one who can, get the job done and fill him in. And then even with the Ryan Newman incident too, it's like, just put Chastain in the car. We'll be fine.
I want to go back a little bit. So, I know everyone's saying Ross Chastain. I don't know what the deal is with him and Roush, how that's going to be worked out overall. But I don't think we should bank on Ryan Newman coming back if this thing ends in May, just because head injuries are so finicky. You can have one head injury, a concussion or something that is healed in 2 weeks, you're ready to go. You can have others that the effects last years, and we don't know the extent, and I'm not going to be here speculating on what the extent of it is. He's been out fishing with his daughter, so in some ways he's back to normal, which is really good to see. I was really happy to see that. But that just because somebody's good to sit in a seat and fish and just in a calm environment does not mean that they are recovered enough to be in a loud race car going around with 39 other drivers.
Trust me, fishing is calming. That's all.
Yeah. You know what? I might have to go fishing with Danny once this whole pandemic thing is done. I mean, I have to do something. I'm so bored, man.
So
so bored of being here.
Here's the way I'm looking at everything, and I don't think Ross should focus on trying to go full time with this right now, like in the Cup Series, because I think he should try to focus on Xfinity Series Championship. That's something he probably wants to try to get off his bucket list, competing for something like that. But also we run into this right here. He may have to be a long-term fill-in guy for Roush Fenway, but we also run into this. Guys, he's supposed to drive the 77 at the Coke 600, so someone else is going to have to drive the 6 in that situation.
That's right.
He is obligated by that sponsor who's already put up the money for him to drive that car.
Mm-hmm. So I was thinking about that when I talked about what would happen if Chastain, for instance, did have to go over to the 42, which I honestly think that Jamie McMurray would be the safest possible option. He's worked with the sponsors before. He's worked with the 42 team before and Ganassi. But if the 6 car is still open, needs to be filled up, there's a lot of really good drivers, especially if it's just a one race deal, could fill in. There's guys like Chase Briscoe is somebody in the Ford family who I believe would be a really good option for it. On top of Chase Briscoe, there's some other options. David Reagan raced in the 2020 Daytona 500. He's been a member of the Ford tree. Then you look, there's the 2 former drivers I talked about that would be good options. We talked to Greg Biffle at Daytona. He's open to basically anything at this point. So if Jack Roush came knocking on his door, I have a feeling that Greg Biffle would come in a heartbeat to drive again. And then Matt Kenseth, in my opinion, is one of the top 15, top 20 drivers of all time in NASCAR. And I don't care how long he's out of that car, he'd make it at least semi-competitive. So there's a lot of options.
When Greg Biffle left after 2016, he seemed to suggest that there was a lot of bad blood between him and Roush, and that he didn't want to drive unless it was like a good equipment. But seeing the way things have happened, like the fact that he even drove in a 16 car and that iRacing event, I think that some wounds have been healed a little bit there.
Time heals old wounds. Jack Roush has had a reputation in the past too, especially in the early 2000s when they had the worst Roush racing entry back in like 05, 06. He's had a reputation of he has just been ruthless when it comes to cutting drivers. And when they leave, he will just badmouth them to a certain extent. After David Reagan left in 2011, he kind of just basically went off. He's like, we worked with David for, from 07 for basically 5+ years and only got, very little out of it, out of the whole relationship. He was frustrated. And I mean, at the end of the day, you reap what you sow. Sometimes, karma comes back to get you. And, when Roush Racing started struggling, there were a few people just like, from like, myself, fans wise, and people inside the sport who were like, I kind of don't feel bad in this instance just because he was he could be so rude at times. But, maybe in this instance, when it comes to Biffle, maybe times have changed. I know when Kenseth left, there probably weren't the best of feelings when it came to that. So when Roush asked him to come back, for Kenseth to come back a couple years ago, it was a no-brainer. But now for Biffle to come back, that would just be the icing on the cake right there. I would love to see a reunion of some sort. But then if you want to go back and look at it from a a team's futures perspective, like, okay, let's try and get some drivers in the pipeline and see what happens, because they don't have their own Xfinity program anymore too that they used to have back in the day.
Yeah, they're not developing talent anymore. You
can't. So you have to look at other drivers' talent within the pipeline. And Chase Briscoe seems like he would be the best fit out of everyone if that were the case.
Chase Briscoe, possibly Austin Cindric. He was also in that deal when they had their last Xfinity.
Well, Cindric, he already has the backing fully, just because his dad is like one of the head guys over at Penske Racing. So yeah, that would make sense too. But if we're gonna just speak from a talent perspective out of these young drivers, then yeah, Chase Briscoe is my top pick.
I think we're gonna probably run into issue of like, okay, Chastain can't be everywhere at once. We're going to have someone else. And if I had to make this dream scenario, yeah, I'd probably say keep Chastain in that 6 for as much as he can be. When he has a weekend where he can't honor both, and especially when we get into having to reschedule everything, it's going to be super hard for that guy to make both the Xfinity and the Cup commitments, depending on when they all have to be. So he's not going to be able to do everything. I think he should do as much as he can in that 6 car. I think it's a great opportunity for him. Do that race in the 77 that he was already committed to. Maybe McMurray would be the right guy to do the 42 for the most part. And I saw some people in the chat who were like, "Oh, but he's a Fox. He's a Fox." Michael Waltrip was also racing a little bit while he was a Fox. Like you can work with that. Jeff Gordon, 2016, he was with Fox, but he ran into racing when they were on NBC. But he's still able to get out there and race despite being a commentator. So
it's not impossible.
It can.
Parker Kligerman with NBC, even on the NBC races,
he does it now. Yeah, he does it now.
McMurray's role, no offense to him, it's such a small role that he's more like just a studio color commentator. He doesn't have to be there for that though. He can go race.
He speaks in front of a green screen for a living, guys. He can I'm quite sure they can make this work.
Just a tad, no, not tad. That's a lot better than us, but
Yeah.
The Fox crew with speaking in front of a green screen, they've been socially distancing themselves from racetracks for a while now.
Yeah, no, they have. No, it's been a minute. Hey, NASCAR on ESPN, man. I'm telling you, when the deal comes back.
So, and then we watch the Jack go all upset now because of that.
So yeah, if I have to set up a dream scenario, I would say for the most part have Chastain in the 6 when he can. Get someone like a Biffle, get someone like a Kenseth to split up the ones where they can't. Maybe dream scenario, see if Carl Edwards wants to do one.
Dude, that would be perfect. You gotta find him in
his bunker somewhere.
Yeah, you gotta find him though. They found him. He did some interview about the Hall of Fame recently, so he's
been hiding from the Corolla for a long time.
Yeah, he's been hiding for a minute.
I'd love to get Carl Edwards on here just to tell him. Did you know that like you being like out of the mainstream for so long has made you into a meme about being in a bunker?
Basically, yeah, because everyone's like, "Is he okay? Like, what is he doing?" Because he's just up and left.
Better than anybody else right now because he just wants to be alone.
Yeah, probably so.
Someone here in the chat keeps saying, "But they're not playoff eligible." That doesn't matter at this point.
Who cares?
Chastain isn't. He's saying only Chastain. Chastain is not playoff eligible. He is committed to the Xfinity Series, guys.
Yeah, who cares at this point? You have some sponsors.
At this point, you just want to keep the 6 good and owner points.
Guys, and also you have to remember the 42. This team has sponsors too and stuff that they have an obligation to complete the whole season. Doesn't regardless of what happens, so it doesn't matter.
I would say McMurray is your best guy, especially with the McDonald's relationship. He's the one who brought them there in the first place.
Yeah, started the whole McFlurry memes and whatnot.
If you do, I remember those. But if the best case scenario is if Ryan Newman can be back to in the car if he wants to. Again, I think that's a discussion that he's probably going to have to seriously have with all parties involved is if he wants to. We'll find out about that as time goes on. But if Ryan Newman comes back, it solves so many problems. You can put Chastain for the most part in that 42 car or McMurray. You don't have to worry too much about what happens with the 6, what happens with flipping drivers around here and there. You might have to redo some stuff depending on how they reschedule everything. And for all we know, we don't even know if they'll have all the truck and Xfinity races. It's just something we'll have to find out as we go. That would be the best case scenario. Just for me personally, though, just because I want to see Eric's reaction, I want Kenseth in at least one race in that 6 car just to see Eric's reaction.
Honestly, I wouldn't even have a problem with Roush making the 6 kind of sort of like the 6 car sort of a retirement tour in some regards. Like 1 week have Kenseth back, the next have Biffle back, have Edwards back one race. I mean, why not at this point? I mean, you're not racing for anything.
At this point, let's get Mark Martin back for one race.
Yeah, he's still fit.
Favre of NASCAR.
Dude, Mark Martin is still a hell of fit. I'm quite sure he would love to come back for just one race.
Okay, if you could pick one track for him to just come back and drive it, I'd probably say do a road course, kind of like what Bill Elliott did a couple of years ago, where he just did a road course race.
Are we talking about Mark Martin?
Yeah.
Oh, if I had to pick my track,
I'd pick
Damn.
Bristol.
Yeah, I don't know. Not Bristol. Where was he
He
good
wouldn't
at?
do it, but I'd love it.
I would say Bristol would be fun. I would say Watkins Glen. That's my pick if I could put
Where-
Mark Martin in one race.
Where was Mark Martin really good at in his career? Like, what's a track he was really good at? I can't really pick one out.
Pretty much everywhere for the most part. I mean, he was
Damn.
good at Michigan.
Oh,
as I say that,
yeah, Brock Beard. Yeah, Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
As I say
Michigan.
that.
Then, yeah. All right.
That would be fun. Get him some redemption from that one he almost won was when he was a Michael Waltrip.
If Brock Beard is saying Michigan, then yeah, Michigan. Okay, so yeah, Michigan for
I just
sure.
love how as soon as I said it, his comment popped up. That was perfect.
Yeah, I was like low key thinking that a little bit, and then all of a sudden it just comes up.
I see some people putting Pocono in there. That was another one I thought of just because I've been looking back in the early 2000s for a certain video series, and noticed Mark Martin was really good at Pocono, so that'd be pretty cool.
It's kind of fun in these little situations. We can put these dream scenarios up, and heck, for the most even I would put Jamie McMurray in one race of Roush just for that matter.
Yeah, why not?
You got to get him at the plate track though, or super speedway. That dude's one of the best super speedway racers.
And that six car is actually probably one of the best cars on super speedways right now. Nearly won Talladega, nearly won Daytona in the last 2
It
years.
is.
Fords are so much faster now than they were even a year or two ago. So like the Fords really have stepped up their game a ton the last couple of years. So that would be, anyone who jumps into a Ford at this point, especially on a super speedway, is a threat to win. Especially with the way the bumpers line up, and the fact that if you do need to do a bit of a 2-car tango at the end there to get a little bit of a gap, you have that option as a Ford compared to somebody like, for the most part, a Chevrolet or a Toyota.
Right.
Insert Denny Hamlin.
Yes, and also maybe get Trevor Bayne in for the for a race too. I mean, it's been a while since he's raced. I mean,
well, he left. He ended his career for health issues, if I'm not.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind his
also,
whole MS deal. That's right.
In there, and he did the same thing.
Yeah, that's right. So never mind.
I could also see if need be someone like a Matt Crafton's always a perfect Ford guy to go with too. If need
He's
be.
done it before. I mean, Crafton subbed it before in the Cup Series for various teams.
Top 5 his way through it, but
yeah,
kind of like last year. The Truck Series,
or maybe have I saw somebody said Jesse Little to the 6 car. Oh yeah, because the whole connection with Chad Little and Roush and stuff. That'd be cool. I would like that. Dude. Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's pretty talented in those in the equipment he runs in. Oh yeah, so it's not bad.
And then someone said Trevor Bayne's also he's busy. He's a coffee shop owner in Knoxville.
He is a coffee shop owner, and IDK's cousin
in Daytona.
Yeah, we did. He was with his family. IDK's cousin actually lives out there, I guess, in the same area where his coffee shop is, and he goes in on a regular basis, I guess. So
I was actually all set before all this stuff went down. I was going to be going to Knoxville for a special thing at UT. It was for the college I was in, and then one thing we were going to do was we was going to actually go check out that coffee shop, and then of course everything happened. I wasn't able to.
Damn, that sucks, dude. Like when this whole thing is done, all the YouTubers, we got to take a trip somewhere. I'm telling IDK. I've been talking with IDK. I'm like, hey, let's go to Disney World because he keeps talking about going to Disney World. So I'm like, I'll fly out.
Cross country trip at some point.
We have to go
a year in advance and then do a cross country trip at some point. We'll find it. We'll get all our schedules right and just go from Cali to Maine.
Cali to Maine.
Hey, if we ever go on another trip to a track by the coast like Daytona, maybe Auto Club, we need to find a deep sea charter and go deep sea fishing.
We do. I've never been deep sea diving.
I haven't either.
See, me and Danny'd probably be comfortable. I can't wait to see how Darian would be in that situation.
No. What about skydiving? I'm down to do some skydiving.
I'm not that insane.
Dude, it's just you're just falling from the sky. It's not even a big deal.
Wow.
Yeah, you're jumping out of a perfectly good airplane.
It doesn't even. It's like you're just falling through the sky. And you're just just falling through, and you're just chilling. It doesn't even feel like you're falling at some point. I guess that's what I've been told.
As long as the song "Fallen" by Alicia Keys is on while we're going down,
I think you can even play the music too if you want. So there you go.
Hey Danny, I see someone says Tia Norfleet to the 6 car.
Oh no!
Perfect. She's good to go.
Tia Norfleet is a scrub.
The 6 car is turned into a starting park.
Oh my God! Only one lap completed her whole racing career, and it's only in NASCAR, and it's only a starting park deal. And then they were mad at her because she was going super slow in practice too.
With everything that's been going on, I hope everyone knows I got nothing wrong with that girl for how
No,
she,
we know.
how she looks. Her career path though was just.
Well, no, her career. It's not even. I wouldn't even call this a career. It's basically just like some.
A shot
I
in the
don't know.
dark.
Yeah, I don't know, or maybe some. I don't know. I can't find the word for it. But I don't know. Like this is all for show. Basically, it's all for clout. It's all for looks. Because she hasn't done any real work. When you look at body of work when it comes to race car drivers trying to work their way up the ranks, you don't just rent out the freaking Thor Sport shop and sit in a freaking
I still
truck.
don't know how they did that or why they allowed that.
Oh my
They've got
god!
the internet money.
And shame on the people who were covering that story. Like, do better research. It's pretty obvious that they bought that jacket because then it was going to give the impression that she actually drives that truck. Because it's like, why the fuck is she here? Like, I can imagine somebody on that truck team just working on their truck just another day in the office. They're at the shop. And then they're just like, what the hell is she doing here? Like, get out of my truck. Get out of my fucking truck, man.
You're in the wrong truck.
There are several other great women in the sports they could have worked with for that.
Hell, Angela Ruck's better than her. That's saying a lot.
But I'm not talking about drivers. There are women pit crew members out there they could have worked with on that.
Oh, I know. They could have worked with so many in the diversity program, too. There's a lot in the diversity program right now, but why? Hey, really quick, Danny, your boy, too. They were saying your boy to the six. Gray Galding. Dude, I miss Gray Galding, man.
Honestly, though, I hate how he kind of got, like...
He got screwed over...
the 08 car, which...
Yeah, he got screwed for Joe Graff Jr., guys.
Granted, we haven't seen much, but Joe Graff wasn't looking that bad in it.
No. But I mean, still, Gray Galding, dude, he came second in that ride last year. He nearly put that ride in the playoffs. I remember when we were first starting out, NASCAR YouTube 2018, the biggest meme from Danny was always Gray Galding all the time. It didn't matter
I just
what
felt,
it was.
I felt like his story, he had way more potential than Tia did, but he very much like rushed himself in a sense.
I just had a bunch of Krispy Kreme donuts today too, so I thought of him too. I was
Hey,
like, oh yeah, that car.
I do miss Krispy Kreme in the sport.
I do.
Real
too.
quick, okay, we're at 225 right now. We were a little higher earlier, but lick that like button.
Yeah, lick the like button, guys.
Come on.
Yeah, lick the like button, guys.
You know
Let's
what?
do it.
We've actually had way more super chats than that than I thought we would. So
Yeah, I was just about to say,
I want to give you all some credit for
I was just about to say,
support,
we have
appreciate the
so
support.
many super chats, guys. Really appreciate it.
We started off before we ever went live. Beast of Metal 1989 gave $10. Appreciate that. And I'm gonna read this one. He said, "I've said it elsewhere, but it bears repeating. It'd be nice if people weren't burnt for one mistake, but the rich, famous, powerful also have a way of learning nothing from theirs." And his example is Adrian Peterson, and that's a pretty good example. He messed up, and he made up for it.
Exactly.
Carl Singleton gave $5. One problem Larson had was that he couldn't make friends in the garage. You didn't see him hanging out with the other drivers a lot. I say that more that he was just a family person, but he did make some friends though.
Yeah, he knew some of the drivers. They probably feel way differently about him now.
I saw a clip with him and Denny Hamlin and a few other drivers.
Yeah.
He's young, but he's still a dad,
Yeah. So, hey, really quick, I smell some tacos right now. I'll be back.
Oh my god.
Leaving us for tacos. Okay. Corvette Racing 48, $10. Appreciate that, dude. I'm hoping Larson's outbreak doesn't affect TV ratings. Also, hopefully drivers can still show personality, just not be stupid with it. And then he's glad, the suspension was with Larson. So, yeah, pretty reasonable take there. Wayne Montgomery, $4.99. Thank you. Who y'all think a great replacement for Larson in the 42 car? I think Chastain would be a great replacement. We kind of already went into that, and we're kind of, for the most part, in agreement with you on that. We think there could be some better options, though. Blue Jimmy 48 fan, $2. Appreciate that. He said it's always my Mets. We can never escape. Not sure if we had a baseball discussion there.
Who's talking about the Mets?
That was Blue Jimmy.
Oh yeah, Blue Jimmy. They suck. Sorry, man. They're always bad. They're always bad all the time. Yeah, sorry guys. Dude, no, guys. No, my roommate's making tacos right now. He's gonna make me some. So
gotcha.
Have room service for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Basically,
he's your Postmates for tonight.
Dude, the kitchen's like it's right there, basically. So it's like my door's right
Don't
here,
say
then the
that.
kitchen's like feet away.
You need to make it sound like you're far away and you need to have room service for you. Just don't chew into the mic.
Just set it outside of the. Oh, dude, that was like Danny's problem too last year. I remember 2 years ago. Remember Danny would always just chew in the mic during some show sometimes. I remember that. Like 2018, I remember that. But like we were starting out,
2018, we were very low budget.
Yeah, bro. 2018, YouTube. I was just watching some older clips the other day, man. It was a different time. But anyways,
we were recording the podcast with on our cameras. We were writing a script with another, eating with another, and then just sort of like, trying to focus on everything. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Now we have producers. No.
And then once we got Bobby Allison, it just changed from that day on. It's like, okay, let's kind of get a format going.
And now I can't wait to for the end of the show for our announcement too. Like just
that's right.
And hopefully the announcement we can make by the end of next week's show too.
Yes,
I can't wait, man. We got a lot of stuff.
Dude. Even though we're in quarantine, we've been working so hard for you guys. Trust me, like you guys don't even know. Trust me,
Danny. This can be the Briscoe episode. It's episode 98.
Yep,
that's right. So yeah, and it's only happening in a couple of weeks.
I have more super chats to read.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Carlito Show $1.99. Appreciate it. How about Almendinger? I didn't think about him. Maybe.
I've been
perfect.
hearing rumors he has something else set up though. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, we're not for sure on that. Everything that's happened might have delayed all that for all I know. But
anyways. Eric Keplinger, we announced that last week.
Yeah, we already did.
What?
He was saying calling it episode 100 with Steve. I was like, we kind of announced that.
Yeah. We already
don't have just one guess.
Yo, hey, it's Smoke, dude. Smoke is always coming in clutch, dude. He always does this.
Hold on. My dude, you
what's
rock,
up?
Smoke.
Hi, Smoke.
You're an awesome guy.
Smoke always does this.
Oh my gosh. Joan Gerard to the 6th. You're awesome. You're awesome, Smoke.
Appreciate it, man. Oh man.
I see there was another recent one. Beast of Metal followed up on his one from earlier. Peterson is actually an example of someone learning nothing. Got suspended for a season for beating his kid with a belt, admitted in an article to still beating kid with a switch a few years later. Yep.
Yeah.
There is a reason he has a nickname called Adrian Beat Your Son, but
yeah, he's not the best guy.
Okay.
Hail to the Deadskins.
Again, Smoke, that's awesome. You're going to cry here, dude.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Nice job, Smoke.
Beast of Metal 1989 gave another $5. Appreciate that. I remember Castle ceding all his cup points to run at Xfinity in 13. He wouldn't declare for Cup again until 16, despite running full Cup schedule in 2015. Oh, yeah, I guess I forgot about that situation.
Yeah, it's different. I guess the smaller teams did this back in, a few years ago, but it was never publicized because it's like, I guess at that point it really didn't matter because they were never real contenders, I guess you could say. But.
And then here's Jake Baskinger, $1.99. What's up, dude? Danny B and I just hugged virtually. Virtual hug. And then, I guess Alaskan Yankee was really happy about our discussion of all the Roush drivers. $2.
Yeah.
Please feed my 2000s Roush nostalgia.
Dude, especially from 05 when all 5 of them made the chase, dude. Dude, they should just have a friggin' reunion in 2025. Just run a team and have all 5 drivers from that season just run the whole season. There you go.
And then one last one to talk about. Alaskan Yankee give another $2. Put Rusty Walrus in the 42 or 6.
Dude,
I approve this message.
Yep.
Dude, I see Tom Hanks to the 42, Chip Ganassi to the 42. Let's see, Squidward to the 42. Friggin' Cal Naughton to the 42. Basically, every sort of scenario. It's basically
Brewster Baker to the 42.
Or Norm Benning to the 42. I would like to see him have that car for one race.
I'd love to see Norm get a chance.
That'd be awesome. Be random, but awesome.
I'd just love to see.
Oh, Norm. Here's one that all the guys would like. Margot Robbie to the 42.
Yeah, man. Why not? This is good.
What
about Casey Kane though? Casey Kane would sound good.
He quit NASCAR for health reasons.
Yeah, he's
he quit for health reasons and then went to dirt racing where it's amazingly more dangerous.
Well, it's more dangerous, but it's not as long an endurance thing. So
I guess so more danger, but just I guess less of a chance to a certain extent, just because the races are so short, but so fast though.
His thing is he could handle the way the car drove. He just couldn't handle the long races.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, that's right. 2018, dude. Yeah, he didn't even finish out the season. Yeah, he had to retire early.
You know, I just saw someone say something. It's actually not crazy. A scenario where some of the junior motorsports drivers could even drive at the 42.
Yeah,
It's in
they're
the Chevy
basically
tree.
they basically work in the same camp, as far as the Chevys are concerned. And they have drivers kind of in the same pipeline with the brand new Chevy program, like affiliation with GMS as well is sort of helping as well. But yeah. So that'll do it, I guess.
That's all the super chats. So
Yeah, it's all the super chats.
what's next, guys?
Lightning round.
Oh my God, that's right. Hey,
Hit it, Darren.
once again, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Darren Gillum, aka Black Lives Matter, back for this edition of the Lightning Round. As my camera is out of focus. There we go, focus. And there we go, it's back to focus. And we are about to start the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Jarrett, what do we have on top?
Well, there's a few things. Firstly, I want to just say this is a really positive story here. Mike Wallace will drive for JD Motorsports at the Indy road course race.
Mhm.
Mike Wallace is back.
Yeah, it's good to see him back. I haven't seen him back in a while.
Hey, Mike.
Speaking of Casey Kane, we talked about him a little earlier. He actually, this shocked me because I always remember Casey Kane as the young guy. He actually just turned 40 a few days ago.
He doesn't look 40. That's the thing.
No, he doesn't.
Look 40 at all.
He looks like could possibly be just a little bit older than us.
He still looks like he's from 2004, bro. Just like the hair shorter.
The Dale Earnhardt Signature Series is returning, so that's something to keep an eye on too. And then Kyle Larson's esports team, they're sponsored by iRacing. iRacing dropped their sponsorship of him. Well, they're still on the one in the 42 from what I saw in a few races, but they don't have any of the Kyle Larson Racing logos.
Oh yeah, they're still on his team. See, he affected them too. Yeah, way to affect them, dingus. Come
on. And then this was one that caught my eye from a mainstream perspective. President Donald Trump is in talks with Lisa France Kennedy and others in the other sports execs and others in the sport for NASCAR about bringing sports back and restarting the economy. And a lot of the stuff I saw was like talks with the governor of Florida about possibly he's wanting to do a race at Daytona. I don't know. Strange times. Maybe they'll move stuff around, but
if Trump wants a race at Daytona, then NASCAR will probably move it around. They'll be like, yeah, they'll probably work it out. Probably. I will
be the only one in the stands, just along with hundreds of Secret Service.
Like
premium seating. He starts his own concession.
Right on the start-finish line.
They go up to the flag man behind him. You just see him just clapping.
Wave the flag! Yay! Yeah.
That is a tremendous wreck.
After the race is over, guy does his burnout right there in front of Trump, and he has to get out, come up, shake his hand, and then they eat KFC.
Yeah, KFC.
Oh, and I see in the chat really quick, this wasn't originally part of the lightning round, but Smoke Carbon's only 265 away from 1,000, so go help him out if you can, guys.
Yeah, go help him out.
That man just gave Danny V $100 of his hard-earned money. You go subscribe to him right now.
He gives a lot of YouTubers. Well, he's given IDK $100. I think he's given Maroots $100. So you're a part of the list, I guess. I think he's given us $100 before, like the Bristol trip when we were doing that live stream, the first ever one we did in person. Like, yeah, I think he gave you $100 that stream. It was either 50 or 100. It was 50 or 100.
It was a big one. That's crazy. That's the only time that we've done that show. That we've done this show live together. We need to make that happen one day.
We do. That's what I'm saying. So once this quarantine stuff is done, let's all meet up. Let's have a big trip and we'll do the show.
Let's try Indy.
I'm telling you.
I'm just trying to get out of this freaking house and go somewhere. That's all I'm doing.
I own a house with a spare bedroom and places you can stay. So.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, once this whole thing is done,
let's just get a round table of a bunch of us. I have the four of us, and then also have just other friends of ours come on over if they're free.
Dude, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Me and Jarrett will go to Danny's house first, and then have others go, and then we'll drive somewhere. I don't know. We'll go wherever at this point.
We need to don't even go for like a race or something like that. Just rent a cabin somewhere, and we all just enjoy a cabin.
I don't know, a cabin, or like we just go and do something that's just not racing related. Just go to Disneyland or Disney World. I don't care. Like, I know IDK keeps talking about going to Disney World. So I'm like, all right, let's go to Disney World. I'm down.
We need to find go to the Super Bowl.
No, I don't know if it's Super Bowl. I was gonna say we need to find us a football game we can all go to.
Dude, I'll go to a Vols
Vikings
game.
And Titans are playing this year.
I'll go down to a friggin' Vols game. I've always wanted to go to a college football game that big. I've never been.
You would be blown away by the experience in Neyland Stadium.
Oh, dude, I know. That's what I'm saying. It looks great. Like, just don't lose to Georgia State this time, though. That's the thing.
This is a good year for Tennessee football because we play both Florida and Alabama at home. So if you want to see them play good teams, this is a good year for it.
Yeah, and everyone's going to be out there. That's right. Well, Alabama's kind of on the low, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think this could be Tennessee's year for that one. So
yeah, we'll see.
So there's only a few more here. According to the Daytona Beach News Journal, Voldemort news here. Advent Health is to offer a testing site at the Daytona International Speedway. So that's something that if you're in that area, take a look out for that, or keep a lookout for that.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see. According to Adam Stern, SMI laid off 15% of its staff due to Voldemort. So that's some bad news. That is not something that was planned before this whole thing happened.
I would assume that people at Las Vegas Motor Speedway are probably affected. I haven't. What's so funny?
Nothing. I just read a comment.
Okay.
It's gone now.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see it. Let me see the comment, man. I can't resist.
Oh, that was good.
I will take a picture of that. It needs to be hidden, but it is funny.
Yeah. No, but the people, some employees probably at LVMS are probably affected by this. SMI. I mean, Las Vegas is a part of the SMI family in terms of tracks. And I just hope nobody I knew got. Well, I mean, obviously you don't want anyone to lose their jobs, but hopefully it's people hopefully it's not people I knew, or at least work with from time to time whenever I work down there. So, it just sucks, man. It's affecting everyone. It sucks.
But with that is the lightning round. Darian, do your own thing.
Once again, that'll do it for the lightning round. Thank you guys so much for watching. All right, back to the show.
You went so high pitched that I couldn't even hear you.
Your mic blew out. We have a meme episode, baby.
That wasn't even high pitch, bro. That wasn't even high pitch.
It still pretty much broke your mic, though.
Yeah. No, it did.
So next up, I guess we can talk about, seeing how we talked about real life stuff now, we could talk about a little virtual racing. The Pro Invitational Series is having a bunch of drama.
Oh God, dude, I gotta be honest with you.
Why?
Dude, I gotta be honest with you again. Like we said it last week, I am just so done with iRacing at this point. I'm sorry, nothing against anybody in it. They put on good shows, but I'm just like I said, like the same thing last week. I'm just like, ugh. Like more iRacing again, like
I think I'm more done with the real NASCAR drivers in iRacing.
Mm-hmm.
I watched last night's Coca-Cola Series race, loved it, and I love supporting guys who have made racing on iRacing their racing career. I love supporting those guys. And with that note, we have some people who are trying to qualify in for a big race tomorrow night, hosted by Ryan Vargas and myself. I stepped up. I have sponsored Brian Mercurio in the number 41.
Yo, share screen it. That's share screen worthy. You have to show everyone the truck.
Let me go to Twitter and get the.
Yeah, while he finds it, guys, it is a throwback.
We can talk a little bit about the invitational drama.
Yes.
They only have 26 now that are entered for the race. I saw that like Junior's not in it. I saw that Castle's not in it, and like the excuse a lot of them were giving was like, oh, well, it needs to be the Cup guys, or the 5 least experienced. It's like, no, the most inexperienced people are still in there. Parker Kligerman is in there, and he is not a Cup guy at this point. He's a media guy on it. It's like, no, I think that there's just hectic chaos behind the scenes for obvious reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of chaotics going on.
McDowell's mad as hell, too. Like Kepler saying
McDowell didn't deserve that.
No. It's just they're taking it too serious. They're taking this way too serious, and they need to. If they're going to have someone be serious about it instead of fun, it needs to be the Coca-Cola Series, who are actually really good and would wipe the floor with pretty much everyone.
Oh, they just raced last night. It was a good race, actually. I liked it.
Oh, so here's what's making me more mad. You got McDowell, who was able to sell a sponsor for this race, didn't get told he can't race.
Oh, that's what happened.
Yeah,
yep.
Yeah, they sold an actual sponsor for this one. Then they're told that he can't race. But then you got here's where it gets good. Bubba Wallace, who lost a sponsor, a real life sponsor, famously over what he did, he's still getting the race.
Well, let me guess. Clint Boyer's still in it?
Clint Boyer's still in. Clint Boyer. Love him definitely. He's a hilarious guy. But the dude wrecks someone when he just gets bored.
Look,
I
I'll
think
be
Bobby
honest.
Labonte is out. I don't blame him.
Dude, I don't blame him either. This thing is just it's so drawn out and it's just so dull now. I'm just not interested in it.
I loved the first two races. It kind of lost me at Bristol because I didn't like the heat race kind of thing.
Oh, it completely lost me. That's when I was like, okay, let's stop.
I've ordered the Timmy Hill diecast just because I'm happy for him. I'm happy for what that represents. I'm happy for what it meant for the sport. But at this point, I think I'm realizing there's a reason that these guys race in reality, and Ray Alfala and people like them, they are your stars of virtual racing.
There's gonna be so much regret looking back at this. Like once we do get back to normalcy, because then the normal guys aren't going to be on iRacing as much anymore. And then once you guys come back, then once you do put on your events, how much fatigue is there going to be from that? I can speak for myself in that. Yeah, I'll still be watching. Obviously, like I'll be watching the same amount of sim racing as I did before. Like this whole deal where they're pushing sim racing in front of everybody, in front of the mainstream media, that sort of thing. Like it's not going to make me watch more, but it's not going to make me watch less either. I'm very indifferent. Like I'm going to watch it regardless.
In my opinion, putting all Cup guys out there on Sunday doesn't do anything to help the guys who are racing on Tuesday.
Well, I was about to make my point. I was about to say that, like, it long term, it doesn't help because then once you do get back to these events, like your regular guys, nobody's gonna know who they are because like they never saw them on TV. They only saw the big guys.
Your casual audience doesn't know who Ryan Lewis is. They don't know who Bobby Zielinski is. They don't know who Chris Overland is. They don't know these guys.
Yeah, and they should because that's basically the people you're putting the brands, like you're putting the brand basically on their backs. Like, hey, carry this thing, put on good racing, keep it entertaining, keep it appropriate, of course. But here you go. Like, but you're not putting them up on there.
IndyCar. You look at what IndyCar did with their version of a pro invitational event, and it was other than the crappy start with a crash was pretty good. I mean, I saw, Junior was in there. That's honestly, that's the only reason I was paying attention. I'm glad I did. I caught, a good amount of it. And it was, it came down to fuel mileage, which I'm completely fine with. And they put on a better show than the Cup guys and the Pro Invitational Series has, and props for Junior representing NASCAR there, P3. That's pretty good. Just had to say that as a former member of Junior Nation, but it was it's disappointing because they were so far ahead, but what they didn't do is they didn't change in any way. Fox upped the game with their broadcast. Yep. The announcing was great. Graphics were great. Granted, they used them from NBC, but the broadcast, fine. We can't complain about that one. They did good. The first two races, for the most part, the driving was pretty good. I understand, there was a little bit of growing pains at Homestead. Texas, in my opinion, was the best race they've done yet. But I look ahead at Richmond. I see these restrictions they put on it, and yes, some of it had to do with the Larson deal. I don't have any excitement or anything for it right now. It feels like the same old drawn out thing. Maybe it's because there's nothing else going on, but I'm not looking forward, going forward. Maybe if they do Talladega, I might be more excited, or if they do like North Wilkesboro, but they're not doing anything to switch it up right now. It's just the same old. And if they keep that up, other people in other leagues are going to see that and be like, this is our chance to catch up.
It's funny. It's funny that we're saying about something still so new, but it's true though. I think it's just the fact that it became too saturated too quickly. I think.
Dude,
we don't need iRacing every day.
It didn't have to be that way too. Like when it was first starting out, I thought the amount they did was perfect. I'm like, okay, market it, the right way, like this for 2 weeks, and then maybe you take, some time off from it, and then you bring it back. Because if you do something every single weekend, then eventually people are going to get tired of it, and that's exactly what happened with this.
We learned this with. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say they were good to not have a race this past weekend.
The only reason is because it was Easter. They would have done it. They would have done it if it wasn't Easter. They would have.
We learned this lesson the hard way, just us personally with Heat 4. When you compare the leagues to just events, the events more often than not with tons of planning and everything behind it, long term are a better option to do. We learned that with the Talladega Filter Time Bash.
That looked much better quality than anything I've seen from Core,
Yeah, and then we see what, and we'll talk about it in a bit. E-Truck Night in America with our buddy Ryan Vargas.
Yeah,
that went off better, and what they're doing coming up is, I assume, will go off a lot better in the Pro Invitational Series. So I think what they need to do is adapt and realize that you can do these events, and it will bring in some, probably more of the same audience, but you can't just have it every single day. You can't have it where it's like Sunday we have this, Tuesday night we have this, and Tuesday we also have this, and Wednesday we have this, and Thursday this, and Friday and Saturday this. It's oversaturated, and it's to the point where I don't really, if I'm a casual iRacing fan. Yeah. I'm not somebody who goes and seeks out iRacing. I'm subscribed to their channel so I can watch the Coca-Cola series when I want to, but I'm not somebody who's going to be going out of my way to be like, oh, I got to catch every single one. Like if a Cup fan or something like that of the real thing. So at this point, I don't really see too much of a difference between anything really. I'm going to go with what, in my opinion, is the better racing, because I don't think the Pro Invitational for the most part has had the greatest racing. The better racing is on the Coca-Cola series.
And that's because
that's where it's at.
These guys are professionals at it. It's what they've been used to racing.
They get paid to do this. They have to race. They have to run well.
I want to see half and half. Half of the Cup drivers, like from the Pro Invitational series, so they're the best in it, and the best guys in iRacing right now will go head to head. And I guarantee you, the real drivers would have the floor wiped with them.
And that's
they would.
That's why I think the first one I did, it was the Replacements 100. That one was probably the best combination because it was that way.
But yeah, like after that race that happened, I was like, okay, there's no way they're gonna top this one. They can do more, but there's no way. The only way that they would even have a chance at topping that event is if you basically do what I just said. Wait a few weeks, put a few weeks between each event to basically build up hype. If they would have done it to where, okay, after that race and they didn't do any sort of iRacing events on TV until like now, then yeah, then that would have been perfect. But the fact of the matter is that it looks as if that they really used this whole iRacing situation as a quick cash grab. That's what it's coming at. That's what it's coming off as to me. And yeah, you're going to be making your money, but in the long run, they're not going to be as enthused with the product anymore. They're just not, because you oversaturated the market. And another thing is just the elitism with this whole deal too. I'm sick and tired of getting a lecture on why I should never play Heat 4. I should just get on iRacing. If you're not on iRacing, there's no other point to getting anything. Jared, he completely understands what I'm talking about.
I'm sick of the elitism. It's just gone on too much at this point, where everyone's like, this is the premiere. This is just like the real thing. No, it's not. It's something that should be respected, especially by the top guys in it, because they are extremely talented. It is not the real thing.
Yeah,
there is a difference, and that's the thing that, the elitism from a lot of people watching that have been longtime esports fans, and I get that. You got new people that don't know this stuff coming into your area, and it can get annoying. I've seen it a lot with like when I know a few people and they're like trying to get in the NASCAR, and they're like,
but don't be rude. You just don't be rude.
Does Dale Jr. still drive the 8 car?
It's like no.
Jeff Gordon's still racing, correct?
No.
Does Jimmy Johnson still drive the Lowe's car? Well, that's actually not that bad of a question.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean, so that's just the deal there. Overall, it's just not something that I'm going to be a fanatic over. It's not the same as if I was watching a NASCAR race every Sunday, or if I was watching the Vikings or the Cubs. It's just not going to do it for me. I respect it. And I will watch it. I appreciate it for what it is.
It's never going to replace the real thing. I'm sorry. No. You can have it week to week. And I think that's why having, certain executives run this instead of, people who are familiar with how the internet works and most importantly, how the NASCAR online community works, what their interests are, as far as YouTube is and Twitter and Facebook wise and Instagram, that sort of thing. Like they should have known, like, hey, it's not a good idea to run it week to week. Let's just stay safe and let's just run it, like separate the events.
I love in the chat all the people like, oh, so and so, right? And I'm just waiting for somebody like, is Curtis Turner still in the 26?
Oh my God. I wouldn't expect it to be that old. I can understand, it's junior racing and all that stuff, but
but Danny, show us that car, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, show us the car, dude.
Let's do this. Let's get ready to
be ready to be amazed, people.
It's really nice, and folks. In case you haven't seen it yet, it's really nice.
Bear with me here. Last time we tried share screening, it had some situations with the OBS. I might have to fix that real quick. So let me see if this does it all correctly.
If anything, if it's on.
There we go. That's perfect.
Yeah, but it's not showing up on there. So
that's right.
Darian, look it up. Look it up.
Give me just a second. No, it's
well, if somebody else can share screen, and it'll come up.
No, it still did that last time too. It didn't matter who had it.
Oh well, if we can't see it, then go over to Danny's Twitter and you can see it then.
Well, I know if Darian looks it up, because I can't on my phone.
Actually,
there we go.
Actually, I don't even have to share screen on Zoom. I just pulled it up straight on OBS. So.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good.
But yeah,
black screens matter. I'm watching. The broadcast is a few second delay, so I'm watching here and just seeing it.
Dude, and look at it, man. It's basically a throwback to Ricky Rudd's 2002 version of the Haviland 28 car. And that was the final season Haviland sponsored Robert Yates Racing.
And I love the attention to detail. And Brian, the driver, he's the one who made this game too. So he's really talented as it is. He's the one who did this. And I told him, I was like, hey, the DannyBTalks thing is easy to do. But I said, use the YouTube play button part and make that kind of like the Texaco logo, and he did a good job.
Yeah.
And then if you notice there, he's got the little chevron logo, but
it says YouTube.
YouTube right
Yo, it's perfect. That's a little detail I didn't notice until you said something. That's nice.
The truck looks amazing. I hope he's able to race it in and get into the show. Either way, Brian's a nice guy. He's been in the community I've been part of for a long time. I think he definitely, it's a good opportunity, and hope he does good.
If the truck looks that good, he's got to race his way in, right? Like he doesn't have a choice.
He made it into the last one, so I'm hoping he can do it again.
Oh, okay. If he can make it into the Atlanta one, he should surely make it into this one, right? It's different tracks, but I mean, by and large, the same people. Isn't Sloppy racing in this? This time he has to race his way in.
He's got to race in this time.
Okay, and he's in the same truck, correct?
Yeah, that's his new scheme.
All right, so that's two schemes I'll look out for: Danny's scheme and that scheme. So that's cool.
And then I'm gonna go through our buddy Ryan Vargas's Twitter right now. I'm currently on my phone because my computer decided to take a crap on me with it. So, man, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot of cool schemes though as I'm scrolling down through here. But yeah, so let's see what we got here. The race is tomorrow night, I believe, right? Thursday, April 16th.
Yes,
it is. At 7 p.m., I'm going to assume that is Eastern time. And I'm looking at the sponsors. Got a lot of big-time sponsors here. Virginia Lottery, Federated Auto Parts, GoBowling.com, Papa John's, Toyota, and a ton more. But it's benefiting Project Hope and will be streamed with Podium Esports and Speed 51. It's Truck Series Night in America Rumble at the Richmond Raceway. And so
now that is cool.
I won't be streaming during it like we did last time, but I'm definitely gonna be watching. Honestly, I might just jump in with all you guys I might jump in on what do you call it, Discord, and just do a watch party with you guys. Have to see, but I'm pretty excited about it. I'm looking at a lot of these. I think they're doing the heat races tonight.
Yes, that's I think they're doing them right now, actually.
Yeah, that's what the updates are for.
Boys, I'm in trouble. Claudia's in the chat. I like how I find out on the podcast how my husband spends his money.
Hi, Claudia. It's good to see you again.
Hey, Claudia.
Hey, Claudia. In all fairness, Mr. Smoke Carbon there definitely made up for helping out Brian there. So
there's a lot of throwbacks here. I'm looking. There's a throwback to the old 5 car for Hendrick, the All-Star car.
Oh, I did see that.
There's the Ron Horton Napa truck. Let's see what else we got. I'm just gonna keep scrolling through here.
Just a lot.
Is Alexander Rossi in this race?
Maybe he might be. If he's on the entry list, then yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these for this. But I'm just looking through here. Joseph is in his 82 N2SC4R.
That's right,
truck.
he is.
Seeing if he can advance in the main event. Joseph's really good on iRacing. So
yeah, he's really good.
Our buddy Justin's in there. Let's see. I want to scroll through and see if there's any updates of who's made it in so far. Heats 4 through 6 were live about an hour ago, so I'm assuming they're done. Let's see.
Hopefully, Sloppy made his way in. He's really good on there.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any where the updates are all at. I'm just scrolling through here, but the heats and rounds are all going through. So we'll find out the entry list later tonight. So be sure to follow our buddy Ryan Vargas at @RyanVargas_23 on Twitter. See if we can get him over 6,000 followers tonight. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man. Yeah, he's close to breaking that. He's really upped his social media presence during the whole quarantine thing. Remember when the whole quarantine stuff started off? I was getting back from Atlanta. I was flying back that day, the day I had to leave early, and he was already planning out the Atlanta event. Like, just thinking about it now, it seems like forever ago, but it's only a month ago now. But just in like the times we're in now, like a month ago seems like months ago now at this point, just because it was a different world then. So hopefully everything gets back to normal though. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, that's usually kind of the next story we can kind of talk about. I'll just combine two of them. So one's from Dr. Fauci and one's from the New York Times. Dr. Fauci says sports could return without fans, though. And the New York Times reported live concerts, gatherings, and such may not return until after 2021. So I'm going to go with Dr. Fauci here. They're definitely going to start out without fans, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But to all the people saying that they're going to start at Martinsville, they're not. They're still under a stay-at-home order till June 10th, and they're probably not going to change that. So we probably should look at the Coke 600 if we're going to look at any to start on time.
Yeah, so if that's the case, whenever the NASCAR is like the first to come back, like NASCAR should try and plan this out to where they're the first sport back in the entire country. Like they need to plan it out, even if it's without fans, because they were going to do that for Atlanta. But then, unfortunately, someone tested positive there, and they basically killed the whole situation there.
Well, it also didn't help that the federal government was like, "Hey, y'all need to go."
Yeah, and then and the federal government at that point was like, "Yeah, like nice try, but no, it's not going to work out." But so I mean, that would be cool. Best case scenario, that'd be awesome if we can start back in May. I'm still not a fan of NASCAR trying. Like they're still talking about we're going to get the whole season in. Look. I say for all sports, including NASCAR, cut your losses, man. Just shorten the season. You really don't have a point. There's nothing wrong with shortening the season. It's just that, I understand from a money perspective.
I just got a DM from our buddy Carnation. Sloppy didn't make the show.
Damn, that sucks. So sorry to Sloppy there. Sorry, man. But
that's
no.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks. But back to what I was saying, though. I mean, I would prefer if we just shorten the schedule, just make up the dates that we're, already have fast approaching on us right now. How you can make up the other events, if you ever do, I don't know if you can. But I'd say just to keep it safe, just shorten up the season and just take the L's, just take the losses, man. Because I mean, if you do like 2 races for like a 3 straight weeks, like the wear it's going to have on these teams, I don't know if some of these teams can even handle that.
Yeah, that's a big problem too. And then you also got to look at a lot of the lower series. If I don't see how they get all that stuff in and get all these races all rescheduled together, if they want to keep the Xfinity and Truck Series, especially because those a lot of teams in there, if they start missing races and can't have a lot of income, from these, or if it makes crashing out of a race for one of these smaller teams that much more of a problem long term. So that's something that I think they have to keep in mind. I don't know if NASCAR is just looking top down on this one, like just look what's best for everyone up top, and then it'll just sort of go down from there. I don't know what their plan is. I'm interested though, because it seems like in a lot of areas, New York is one of them that I saw. They were like the epicenter. I've seen in a lot of them that it seems like the curve has been flattened slightly down in a lot of areas. So maybe we won't have to even worry about this, and we can make up a few of them we're going to make up a few races for sure.
We'll make up a few.
Some on the off weekends, and probably 1 or 2 midweek races or a doubleheader. Maybe what they'll do is have a doubleheader at places like Michigan, Dover, stuff like that. Just if they're going to do 400 laps of Dover 2 days in a row, oh my God.
I think it's just like, it's ambitious. I mean,
But
it's
I hope it's not
ambitious.
midweek races because that's going to be too much wear and tear on the drivers and the teams.
Yeah, you can't do midweek races, man, especially now. If you're trying to make up the entire season, and most of your races will probably consist of a ton of weekday races. And I mean, just realistically, that's just not going to happen, I don't think, or it shouldn't happen. These teams, they already have enough time getting from point A to point B as is. I mean, just talking with teams during the whole Daytona delay, they were getting hella grimy just about, the race getting delayed to Monday, and then they have to basically bus all the way out to Vegas for the second race of the season.
Yeah,
They were just getting grimy.
What happens if there's a rain delay in a midweek race and you can't make it up because you have to race on Wednesday night and then go out to a Sunday race but have a full weekend there planned? What if it, 2 days of rain and it's like, can you race Friday in, let's say, Michigan and then have to drive all the way out to Loudon?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
After
It's uncomfortable, man. It's not going to work if you go that route. But the thing is, though,
you won't
it's
see
kind of funny.
Full fields.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to see full fields nearly as much. And a funny thing is, I just thought about this now. That would be kind of a throwback to like the 50s. I remember watching the Dale Jr. download, and Richard Petty was talking about, back in the day in the 50s, 60s, like 50, 60 races a year, allow them weekday races, and some scheduled like the week or the weekend of. But I guess back in those days, you never asked. Like, you never really complained or whatever. It was more regional anyways. But like in today's day and age of NASCAR, that's not going to work, my guy. It's not.
Nah, it's going to be really interesting. I just want to find out what the plan is. We have the skeleton plans, but that could change in any minute. That's the one thing I want to find out. I
just want a timetable. I just want a timetable of when everything's going to get back to normal. But right now, it's like everything's happening. Like the situation's still changing rapidly every day. Sure, it's slowed down a little bit since this whole thing started about a month ago. But right now, it's just I don't know. I mean, like if you're trying to redo the whole schedule this year with the consisting of a ton of weekday races, that is just not going to end up. That's not going to end well. That garage is going to freaking kill each other at the end of the year if that happens. I can.
I
mean, at Homestead,
December too.
Oh, I know, dude. That's going to make it doubly as just as bad. You're basically condensing the entire season into the remaining months of 2020. It's not gonna end well.
I don't want to race in December. I really
don't. No, and honestly, if you ask me, I don't even want to race in November anymore at this point. Like I said, just have the season end in September. Man. Just condense it down for this year and then just focus on next year. I think every sport has no choice but to take that route. Either that or just cancel the
NFL,
season.
I mean, I saw that something that Kirk Cousins had talked about, about it would be nice not to play without fans. One, another reason for me not to like Kirk. Two, because if the NFL is talking about that already, about no fans, we're looking at long-term issues here and with that, and they're not just going to be talking about that out of nowhere and having this reckless speculation about no fans here and this and this and this.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really, really interesting in the coming weeks through into about mid-May. I think when we get to Memorial Day, we're going to find out what the overall plan is moving forward, whether it's cutting some races, whether it's going in December, which I don't think really anyone really wants to do. It's going to get wild. It's going to get really wild, and there's going to be a lot of tension in the garage and in the sport in general.
They need to be careful how much they already start, canceling and not letting happen, because we've already seen the XFL closed entirely.
That sucks. R.I.P. to the Battlehawks.
Hey, and I was a Houston Roughnecks fan, undefeated, officially the champions.
Hey, I think what was it? The Battlehawks record? What, like 3-1, 2-2? I think something.
They weren't bad. Hey, I was rooting for them.
We've got a special guest coming in.
Rusty. Hey, buddy.
Yeah, what up?
So,
hey,
Rusty, we didn't talk about this yet, and we talked a little bit about the iRacing Pro Invitational Series coming up. Rusty, my man, you are a car designer for Hendrick Motorsports.
Yeah, pretty surreal. It's still very emotional. it's one of those things you never anticipate winning. You just throw a design out there just for fun because you have a passion for designing race cars. Mm-hmm. And I had a little bit of traction. Drive-through helped me with the render of the car, and I think that got some attention from Team Hendrick and William Byron, and I think that's what got us the win was drive-through's help and just everybody's support, liking it, sharing it, whatever. But yeah, I'd kind of known I was close to winning it, but then once they posted it, man, and then once like my family saw, and like I was like, you know, not to too much, but that's what makes it emotional is the just the generations, the family, just this whole NASCAR thing. It's more than just one person. Like the history of the 24, everything around it. You just think about your friends that pull for the 24. The kids that are out there going to pull for the 24 this weekend, and William Byron's special talent. It's just it's just unbelievable.
I gotta ask this on your Twitter. I saw a strange increase of like William Byron 24 stuff showing up. Is there any kind of link to that?
Was there any link?
Well, there had been some rumblings, and the last thing I wanted was for Exalta to or Team Hendrick to see me wearing a Ford hat. So I was going to change my header to, so I didn't want any.
Wait, hold up. You're wearing a senior jacket right now. That's not working.
Well, that's fine. That's senior. He's a legend.
It's not good.
So I was just trying to be brand friendly, brand safe, and just couldn't believe it. Even when I saw the notification, I'm like, this can't be real. And
I hope that they actually run that car in a real race one day.
Hey, so I have to ask this about the Pro League, man. You're the hottest free agent right now, dude. Talk about that, dude. Talk about that whole draft day experience. And I'll be honest, like I didn't know the draft was happening until the day of. I was like, oh, they just announced it. Like, oh, I guess it's happening. So hopefully he gets drafted. But talk about that experience.
It was kind of like that behind the scenes. There's a lot of unknowns, especially with the draft and what was happening, even with drivers returning for season 2. So everybody had the draft day nerves. We all woke up that day and it's like, it's happening. Like this is happening.
It's like happening last minute thing.
Yeah. Like just imagine since we couldn't be there in person, that was the next closest thing. We're all sitting there at the computer waiting for essentially a Zoom invite. And you're waiting for like the commissioner or something to come up on stage. It felt real. Even though I kind of knew what my odds were. So I prepped a graphic in advance knowing that I wasn't going to be selected. So just kind of waiting for it to play how it did. Unfortunately, Raw Gator didn't get selected. I thought for sure he'd be locked to.
I was surprised by that.
So that was kind of a heartbreak deal. But just even being part of the process, I learned just more than I can even explain, just about the driving talent, the behind the scenes stuff with the Pro League. And even through this process, we got invited to do some Pro League broadcasting. So tonight, that's where I've been. Is I was doing a test broadcast for the Pro League. They had a test race, and so if you guys saw Darian do a guest appearance, I was doing something very similar. I won't go into full details, but I was a little bit more involved than I anticipated being. So it felt like I don't know. I felt like it was the biggest audition of my life. It was something. So
that's cool.
The range of emotions. Yeah. So
how would you grade your audition?
I had fun, and it went better than I ever would have guessed or anticipated. I was like, of course, this is how it's going to go. Of course, it's going to be this way. So they threw me right in the fire, and that was I'll never forget that experience. Talking with Bob Dillner, Hen Newhouse, the guys at Motorsport Games, unbelievable opportunity and just moment to be a part of.
Yeah, now I remember being in that little in the little pre-race production meeting. We're like, "Wow, I watch these guys growing up. It's crazy." Yeah, trust me, I had the same feeling too.
So, Rusty, you coming here the time you did, you missed it. Have you seen the DannyBTalks truck that's going to be hopefully racing tomorrow?
It's amazing.
The Haviland kind of tribute with the colors. I love it, Danny. I love it. Congrats, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I felt like, things have been good for me during all this time, better than I thought it would be, and I felt like giving back to someone who deserved it, and then getting involved in this great big, community-driven event.
Do you know if your driver advanced to the final round coming up?
I don't know yet. He made it in last time, so I'm hoping he'll be fine. He was actually pretty competitive at Atlanta, if I recall correctly. So hoping he has a good one. I might actually just send him a message.
It'd be sweet to see DannyBTalks out there.
Unfortunately, Slappy didn't make it. Unfortunately,
he was running the practice race.
Yeah,
Joseph was running the same race as Winvow. So Michael Cozy, they were in the same. race.
Winvow's in the race too. That's right. Yeah.
Winvow advanced to the final heat coming up here very shortly. So Winvow is in contention to get to the main event. That's really
nice. Cool. Yeah, I want to see him in there, dude. He's so underrated. He deserves more subs when it comes to streaming platforms and stuff like that. He's so good, man. Oh,
well, you kind of came in at perfect timing because all we have left is picks.
Yeah, that's really all we have. It's gonna be, dude. I guess like the pro league, the pro invitational race, but like I was straight up honest with the rest of the chat. I'm probably not gonna watch it, dude. I've been watching so much.
I still gotta have something to pick. So
yeah, we still have to have something to pick though. So we gotta pick it. So let's see.
And
I'll go first if you want.
By the way, just an update before this. Brian just messaged me. He said he said there's still one more round to go, so he doesn't know if he's made it in yet.
Okay,
but he's on the cusp. We can find out by the end of the stream because we have the picks and then our second big announcement for episode 100.
Oh yeah, so we have a big announcement coming up. So
I'll go first with the picks. Like, so who's gonna suck? Clint Boyer.
Yeah, Clint Boyer. That's the safest one. I was just gonna pick Boyer. That's it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a double Boyer and Bubba. They're not gonna do good.
Double.
Don't quit.
I actually have, I think, a pretty good suck pick. I'm going with Kevin Harvick. I cannot believe they got him to do this.
He's doing.
I don't know if Kevin Harvick's ever used a computer. I'm going Kevin Harvick. He's going to suck. Even though I want to see him run well, I think he's going to suck.
I want to see him run either the Millennial scheme or the Gen X scheme. The Gen X scheme actually is better. I want to see him in the Gen X scheme.
Yeah, it needs to be in those.
So dark horse. See, okay, so I had a bit of it was a little more difficult for me to have a dark horse pick. But because there are a lot of, it's like there's that iRacing in this rate, these races are just, it's the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
There's not very many that are in the middle. But I'm going to go, and I'm going to get ahead of the meme here. I'm going Alex Bowman, 88. I think he'll be, because he's good, but he's not like, like that top 2 or 3 really, really good. Agreed. But he's still like, he's definitely in the top third for sure of any of the guys that we've had on here. So I'm going Alex Bowman is my dark horse pick to win.
I'm going to go with Michael McDowell. Oh, wait, they said no. They said no, Mikey, you can't race. They told the other Mikey you couldn't race. So
don't care if you got a sponsor.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you bring money. No, even though that's the whole point. But no. So you can't race. So he was going to be my dark horse, but unfortunately I can't. So I'll just go with Harvick because I don't know what to expect from him at this point.
I think my underdog pick is going to be Joey Logano for this one. He's shown a lot of real success at Richmond. Been not too impressive in virtual, but probably not too terrible either. So this could be a good one for him to have. It could be an underdog.
Hey, he loves short track racing too. He loves that.
I can't even remember if I've seen Logano on the track these first couple of races.
Yeah,
I was kind of thinking Kyle Busch for my underdog, but he's been working forward. But I'm going with John Hunter Nemechek. Pretty much anything you put him in real life or computer, he's going to work his way to the front. I'm going John Hunter Nemechek. He's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so who's going to win?
Winner, chicken dinner.
The winner is going to be Rusty Scheme. William Barr is going to win. That's right. That's what I was saying.
I'm buying the die cast, the hat, the shirt. I'm buying
I think we're all saying it's Byron. He's going to go.
You know what? You know what? Now I have some incentive to watch now that it's Rusty's car, so I'll watch it for sure.
When I saw that gave me more reason to want to see it this weekend. I was starting to not care. I was thinking I'll just go do some Instacart shopping, but now I want to watch it.
Yeah, so we gotta watch it now.
I'm gonna be spending that stimulus money here on William Byron everything coming up.
Oh, are we getting stimulus checks yet? Is that official or no?
Not college students. Thanks.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, thanks, government.
I'm just gonna say it. I got mine today.
I wish I would have gotten mine, but I'm not eligible. I can't. College students aren't eligible, so appreciate it.
Not like we would ever need it.
Yeah, I know, right?
No, okay, so chat, who you got winning?
Just put William Byron, guys. Just put William Byron.
Let's put William Byron.
It's a black and gold 24. What else do you need?
Yeah, it's a matte
black 24, which I'm shocked they're running matte black. I didn't know that was a thing, but Exalta, it's a thing. So shout out to them. And the gold is going to be kind of a metallic gold. So depending on how it hits the light, it's going to be fancy.
Ooh, that's going to be nice, though.
Hey,
Also, Michael Roots, I don't know what lap you think Jimmy's going to crash on.
Oh, yeah, he's here.
I'm surprised he hasn't switched to IndyCar full time yet.
Yeah, I know, right? I know.
Rusty,
That's only real life.
If they offer your car, Rusty, in a diecast form, I hope that color chrome is an option, because I feel like matte black of that gold as color chrome, that would look amazing.
That would look amazing. That would look great.
I agree.
That would look beautiful.
Yeah, it would. It would look nice, bud. Yeah, so
one last
basically,
time,
William
click that
Byron's going to win.
button.
Yeah, and click the like button.
Look at that like button, y'all. And before we
last thing
make
I
our
wanna
big announcement.
Oh, before we get to that, I do think it deserves a shout out. William Byron selected the two paint schemes that he's ran the last couple times. So I think it's really cool of Hendrick and Exalta to allow their driver to have involvement and pick what he wants to drive on.
Hey, let the
That's
driver
awesome.
decide. Let the driver decide when he wants to race.
Actually,
Go figure.
He's been doing
I
that
like
from the
that.
get-go. If I recall correctly, in the Replacements 100, he had a very specially made Liberty University car.
He did. He did.
See, that's how it should be, because these are the guys who are going to have to be in the car. They should at least have some, if not the majority, say on
If
what
you're
they drive.
driving, then you should at least care what it looks like. I don't get drivers who don't care what the car looks like. It doesn't logically make sense to me. It's got to be pleasing to look at.
Michael says that Jimmy ain't wrecking this weekend, so
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah. No, he's funny. He's a funny man. Funny guy. Oh, but anyways, so can we get to the announcement now? Or
Well, we should at least announce what we're going to be doing for next week. So we're on Danny's channel again next week. We had a guest scheduled, but there's
Not
just so much going on here.
there's
Yeah,
like
he might
so
not be
much.
on.
Dude, there's
So-
so much gibberish going on, so we don't know yet.
There might be a we might get somebody that y'all would recognize on too. We'll have to talk to him first, but
Yeah.
so episode 100 is in 2 weeks on my
That
channel,
is.
April 29th.
Mhm.
We already announced last week that Steve Phelps, we'd have his interview on. We'll make sure we get that done. But we have another guest who's confirmed. Darian,
Yes.
who is our guest that's confirmed other than Steve Phelps?
So along with Steve Phelps coming on the mega 100th episode of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, Haley Deegan will be on as well. She'll be on, I believe, during the second half of the show. We're still trying to find a way we can format the show the right way. So we already have two major guests in both Haley Deegan and Steve Phelps for the 100th episode already confirmed. Currently working on the third one, so stay tuned for that.
We'll hopefully we can announce it next week.
Hopefully next week.
Steve Phelps and Haley.
Yeah, and then we're not done yet. By the way. So we're still working on the third guy. So.
There's still things cooking in the fire here. So
So we still got some things cooking. So I remember the days too, and I was also watching I was actually watching the Bobby Allison episode, a little bit of it last night. And I remember when we were announcing some of our major guests at the end of the show, I remember the chat just blowing up. And I remember just watching that, holy crap, that was the first time I was like, okay, that was the very first time I saw any sort of podcast chat blow up like that. And to see some of the chats blow up like this after announcing our big events, it's always cool to see. I like that.
If we got word in time for next week, I have a feeling that next week may just rival that one.
Oh, it's not just gonna rival it. It's gonna explode it if we can get it confirmed. So we just gotta get it confirmed first, is all. That's all we gotta do.
But it should be. It's going to be a crazy episode
Bless
no
you.
matter what. Bless you.
Bless you.
But it's going to be a really crazy
I
episode.
promise I don't have Corolla.
You got Voldemort.
Or Voldemort. Remember, you don't want to get demonetized or whatever.
People are saying we need to get Jimmy on the podcast with Michael.
We do. And then
We should try that, especially if Phoenix is the last race. Try and go out there and do a live one. And have it be Michael meets Jimmy.
Yes, that's exactly what we need, man. That is exactly what we need to happen, but oh man. So is there anything else left in this show, or is that just about it, or do we have to cut it early?
I think we're gonna have a bit of a shorter episode this week, but we do have the world's longest outro coming up, don't we?
Oh, here we go.
And we have a host that can actually mute.
That can actually get it done and mute us.
And,
so that's good.
And I just want to say we missed a few super chats tonight, but hey, we appreciate everyone your support for supporting the show. It helps us keep making this content in these times that we're in right now, and you all are very much appreciated. And guys, We'll see you back next week on this episode once again. And until then, everyone here, goodbye. And this ain't the end of